Fans say goodbye to Whitney Houston in February. One of the world's best-selling music artists and an exceptional musical talent, Houston accidentally drowns in a bathtub because of chronic cocaine use and heart disease. In July, Filipinos mourned the death of beloved movie and television icon Dolphy. As news of Dolphy's death spreads, the mood meter turns sad. On the day of his burial, people remember his legacy, and the mood meter turns green, inspired. In August, low-key Interior Secretary Jessie Robredo dies in a plane crash in Masbate. Within an hour of news of the plane crash, the mood navigator turns yellow, afraid. 24 hours after he's missing, the mood navigator turns sad, until his body is found. Within hours, the mood meter turns green, inspired, as people shift to remembering and honoring the man. A Ramon Magsaysay awardee for his pioneering graft-busting work as the mayor of Naga, Robredo leaves behind a legacy of good governance and public service. A cabinet secretary remembers Robredo for his brand of chinelas leadership.
Good governance should be demanded by the constituency. So unless there is a convergence between good citizens and good leaders, this is difficult. By simply providing that inspiration, sometimes the subordinates are better than their leaders. And I guess in the case of Naga, we've done well, not because I'm smart, not because I'm good, but because I have good people who discovered that they're better.
The death of Dolphy and Robredo show how Filipinos deal with tragedy and loss, from mourning to acceptance to inspiration. 2012 was a year of landmark legislation for the Aquino administration, laws that sent emotions swinging from livid angry to euphoric happy. In March, PhilEx Mining Chairman Manny Pangilinan and anti-mining advocate Gina Lopez clash over the future of mining in the Philippines. The showdown defines the divide in the Philippines between pro and anti-mining advocates. The government tries to find a middle road. In July, it comes out with Executive Order 79. The most contentious aspect of the EO is its revenue-sharing scheme. Both sides appreciate government's good intentions, but they also say the EO is unclear and ambiguous. PhilEx Chair Manny Pangilinan says the government changed the rules in the middle of the game.
At the end of the day, Maria, it's really a question of what is the bias, what is the direction of policy towards mining.
Have the rules changed in the middle of the game?
I believe they have.
Mood meter, annoyed and angry. In an exclusive interview, President Aquino tells Rappler how he feels about mining.
But at the end of the day, we think that the vast majority of our populace is not involved in mining, but is also at risk, especially in all the mining areas. So the interests of the majority, if not the entire populace, should be the primary consideration, which I've often stated, rather than any specific sector.
By December, the government revises its mining targets after a 50% decline in mining investments in the first semester. One piece of legislation in the Philippines shows how inadequate, even futile, man-made laws are in taming the lawless internet. In September, President Aquino signs into law the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. It seeks to address cyber-squatting, cybersex, child pornography, identity theft, and illegal access to data, crimes not covered by old laws. It also criminalizes and drastically increases penalties for libel. It includes a takedown clause that gives the Department of Justice the power to literally take down content. Human Rights Watch says the libel clause poses a serious threat to freedom of expression. Senator Chafisto Gingones says it demonizes technology. Filipinos turn their Facebook profile pictures black. Hashtag No to Cybercrime Law trends on Twitter. Hacktivist group Anonymous defaces government websites. The mood meter turns an angry red. Protests against the new law show the growing awareness, vigilance, and influence of new media. In October, the Supreme Court stops implementation of the new law for 120 days. Mood meter? In December, the Philippines passes another historic law, the sin tax, legislation that languished in Congress for 15 years. The law imposes higher taxes on tobacco and alcohol products, overcoming a strong lobby that kept prices in the Philippines among the cheapest in the world. President Aquino flexes his political muscle to get the measure passed and succeeds where his predecessors failed. Mood meter, happy. 2012 was highly emotional in Congress when the reproductive health bill divides the country. Senator Tito Soto catapults to internet notoriety in August for his rabid stance on the bill. In a privileged speech before the Senate, Soto claims the RH bill violates the Philippine Constitution, puts the pregnant mother and the unborn child at risk, violates autonomy of local governments, and goes against Filipino culture and family values.
Helen became pregnant even though she was taking contraceptives. She gave birth to my real first son, who we named Vincent Paul. He was born with a weak heart. After 5 months, he passed away.
Within hours of the speech, Filipinos online accuse him of plagiarism. He had lifted the work of American blogger Sarah Pope word for word. Back in the Senate, Soto cries he's a victim of cyberbullying.
Ako na po yata ang kauna-unahang senador ng Pilipinas na naging biktima ng cyberbullying. Na yung iba meron pang sinusulat, gusto naman kong kasuhan sa pangyayaring ito. Gusto ko paalam sa kanila na wala pong krimen na plagiarism sa Pilipinas.
In September, delivering the final part of his speech, Soto talks about hindi mabilang na galaw ng katapangan at paninindigan. Twitter users recognize the line is a translation from Robert Kennedy's Day of Affirmation speech in 1966. Kennedy's daughter, Carrie, denounces Soto and asks for an apology. 3 other authors, Sarah Pope, Janice Formichella, and Peter Engelman, issue a joint statement saying Soto infringed on their intellectual property rights and plagiarized. This gives birth to #Sinoto, a collection of memes making fun of Soto and his plagiarized translations. Still, the real stumbling block through the past decade is the powerful Catholic Church lobby, which marshals its forces against the bill. Across the country, bishops use the pulpit to preach how contraceptives corrupt the soul and how a contraceptive mentality is the mother of an abortion mentality. After being certified urgent by President Aquino, the Senate and the House passed the reproductive health bill through second and third reading, as well as ratified the bicameral version, all in December. After 14 years, it's signed into law by President Aquino on December 21 and is now Republic Act No. 1035-4. Mood meter, happy.
We have seen the order of battle. It was stamped confidential, and I saw across the name of Caramon the word neutralized. In military parlance, it means either under their control or killed.
In December, President Aquino signs the Desaparecidos Law, the only accomplishment in an otherwise bleak human rights year. Despite promises, Aquino did not prosecute a single case of extrajudicial killing or enforced disappearance in the country.
Subang, lechoncito de los Reyes.
More than 3 years after the Maguindanao massacre, the single deadliest event for journalists in history, there is still no justice for the victims. But their families continue to hope as another son of prime suspect Andalampatuan Sr. is charged with murder. Mood meter, happy.